to remind you, this is just the first step. Abstaining, like, what is it? Abstaining from negative actions. Then you work with your negative emotions. Then you give up all views. This is like the right way to do it. And why do we have to start with giving up negative actions? It's not going to get us out of samsara. Just stopping negative actions will not get you out of samsara. It's not enough. It will create a good rebirth so that you can then continue with the practices. This is it. So we usually, when we hear this, because we're so used to the 10 Commandments, and we think, oh, if I can avoid all the negative actions and do all the good actions, I'll be safe ever after. It's not like this. You're still in samsara. You still have to undergo the suffering of pain, change, all pervasive suffering, not having what you want, having what you don't want, but it becomes less and less and less. So when it becomes less and less and less, and your life becomes more quiet, then you will have the conditions to be able to practice. Yeah? Like you have, you don't need to go out and work for money, all of a sudden everything kind of falls into place so that you can, if you want to become monk or nun, or you can dedicate your whole life to spiritual practice, for example. But if you don't have the conditions, it's very difficult. So don't forget, it's not, like the goal is not just to be the do's and don'ts. That's not the goal. This is what we hear in Christianity anyway. If you do this and you don't do that, you go to heaven and that's it. I don't know the Jewish view on that. How is your view on that?
Same.
You have a heaven? I thought everything was finished afterwards.
There is something.
For some there is and for some there's not.
Next slide, there's something.
Next life there's some, and there is also some kind of continuation. And then when is it finished, that continuation?
Messiah will come and everybody will be alive.
Yeah, everybody will be alive. And then what? I mean, how long does it continue then? So see, again, there's something that continues forever, but it has to be a beginning again. It doesn't make sense. Much better. No beginning and just continuation, just transformation. That is logic. So we don't have this kind of who was first, the chicken or the egg.
When you're liberated,
Huh?
when you're liberated,
Hmm?
if you're not a bodhisattva, then it's finished.
I don't know, there's different views. Yeah, this is where the first texts come from, like the Vaibhashika and the Sautrantika school, that the mind just goes into eternal peace and that's it. But then, there's 3 turnings of the wheel. So the first turning is really, there is suffering, these are the causes of suffering, there's the true cessation, that's the true path. And then the second turning of the wheel, when he taught about emptiness, was like there's no suffering, there's no origination, there's no cessation, there's no path. And then the third turning of the wheel, he started to explain what exactly that means. Because then he starts to explain these 2 levels, the ultimate level and the conventional level. And also on the third turning of the wheel, he explained especially about Buddha nature, that everybody can become a fully enlightened being. So some scholars or some schools they accept, other schools don't accept. Like other schools, they say, well, there is a historical Buddha that comes, but otherwise everybody is becoming an arhat and is liberated. But anyway, let's come down to earth, because we're not there yet, I think. And do you have questions about the karma thing? Now you can come up with all your what if. Okay.
It bothers me. I think being aware of doing something wrong is very important to the karma.
Yeah.
Of the intention.
Oh.
So sometimes people do bad things, but they're completely unaware of the fact that it's bad.
Yeah.
And what bothers me is that when you learn more, then you are more aware of harming other creatures, and then your karma becomes worse in a way. So I will give an example. So some people, they drink milk, for example.
They?
Drink milk,
Okay.
not even eating meat, or eating cheese. And for them, it's completely harmless.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, so they're ignorant of harming someone. They drink organic milk of free-range cows.
Okay.
Still, they kill the cows, and so it's not so good. But for the person who's drinking, it's completely good. Or mixed.
Yeah.
And if I drink that milk,
But we're talking about the 10 negative actions. We're not talking about drinking milk.
then for me it's a
We are
negative.
still talking about the 10 negative actions. That's what we first have to understand. Then the mind gets more subtle, and then you can go into these things. So this is samsara. This is as long as we, even you don't drink the milk, you still, your vegetables that are being grown. When they plow the field, what happens?
Feelings.
Many beings get killed. When it gets sprayed, although you have organic, but then they sprayed with organic spray, which also kills whatever. So then again, it gets killed. So this is it. This is what the Buddha is telling us. As long as we have this view of real me, real other, real I, we will create negative karma just by surviving. But then, of course, the karma that is done by drinking milk, for example, if you are really honestly a bodhisattva, you can say, I want to make contact with these cows. Wow, thank you very much, cow. You're giving me your milk. I have to become a Buddha really fast so that I can get you out of samsara, for example. Yeah? Is that...
What bothers me is what Nick said, that ignorance is bliss.
It's bliss now, but it won't be bliss in the future. Again, but we're talking about negative actions. We're not talking about drinking milk. Because as long as we don't understand these 10 negative actions, what you are going into is not leading us anywhere. Because again, we try to create a situation in samsara where we would be fine and okay by not creating negative karma. We create negative karma by not drinking milk, by thinking there's a real cow and a real me who's not drinking real milk. That's the wrong view. The wrong view of inherent existence. So, again, it's like...
You cannot go out of it.
Huh?
You cannot go out of it anyway.
No, it's all, I think, starting with the wrong view. That
This is
everything
the
empty.
root. But in order to get rid of that wrong view, you have to start to stop these 10 negative actions. So this is what we're talking about, because other things are very subtle, and it depends on motivation and this and that. And you see, not drinking milk. What about if your child needs milk? Then what?
Exactly what I'm saying. Then you think it's a good thing, and then you don't create...
Not necessarily. You still know that it's not a good thing, but in order to save the child's life, in order to have a happy or a healthy child, you know, like this whole thing about vegans and children. I mean, if you talk to doctors,
Yeah.
not so sure if it's really a good thing, actually. So I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. So if you, as a grown-up, you see it's not harming your body and all this, then. If you're a bodhisattva and you say, oh, it's harming my body, but I don't want to drink milk, it's okay. So there's a few liters of milk that are being not drunk, but the cows are still where they are. You're not liberating them, but if you have a healthy body, you become a Buddha really fast. I think that is more beneficial. You know, it's like, these are samsaric questions that, it's samsara.
My question is not about milk and being vegan. It's about doing something which is wrong, but being completely unaware of that action.
Like
being
any
wrong.
of these 10 actions.
Yeah,
Yeah, then
and then I do not create karma, I think.
you will.
Even if I'm completely unaware of harming.
Yeah, because you're doing with anger or with attachment.
No, without
What?
anger.
Say you're taking a
How
pen.
can you kill
Borrowing
without
a pen
anger?
and
How
not
can
being
you
stuck.
steal without attachment? How can you? How?
You don't think it's...
How can you do sexual misconduct without any attachment there?
No, he's asking about the intention. He has no intention. That's what he's asking.
But this is what I'm saying. We misunderstand the word intention, because intention means the mental state. So how can you kill without any intent, without any anger
You can
or attachment? If you're attached to killing.
What if
By accident.
No.
Yeah,
not by
exactly.
accident.
Okay.
No. This is
What?
not my question.
No.
Not by accident.
What is your question?
If you think that a mosquito is really not a being,
Yeah.
you're completely certain of that because this is how you were raised.
Yeah.
And then you kill a mosquito.
Yeah.
And you think it's not a being. It's like...
This is what I
Lucky the
said,
plants.
but your subtle mind knows. When you don't like what you do to the other, when you don't like when it's done to you, the negative karmic imprint is created. What?
If you don't consider it killing, even in your subtle mind.
But your subtle mind considers it killing because you don't like when somebody. Okay, if you really don't mind when somebody comes and kills you, then
But
yeah.
you don't consider it.
No, it's not like this. Your mind understands if the same thing happens to you, you will suffer. The subtle mind understands when you do it to somebody else, the karmic imprint is created. The subtle mind, the Buddha nature, that mind that knows, is creating these imprints. You see, I was in Samoa, okay? So in Samoa, when I was there, everything is shared. So for me, that was very practical because I could live there as long as I wanted, and I was given food and shelter and everything. And then I was with backpack. I wasn't a nun, okay? I had few lives in this life. So then at one point somebody was going through my backpack and I was very, I go, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm just looking if I can use any of these things. If he would have taken something, it would not be the crime of stealing because I can take everything from him. If I can kill that person that kills the mosquitoes without him having any suffering, then is no karma created. But how many people are like this? You see, there's many people who harm others and then they think, oh, that's okay. But when they are harmed, it's like, oh, poor me. So this is how karma works
So
on a psychological level.
If someone likes being gossiped, like he's a celebrity and he gives the journalists his photos so they talk about him, then if he gossips, he will not create negative karma because he likes being gossiped.
Nobody likes being
This is-
gossiped.
Do you see? Yeah. When you know you go like in the social media whatever, and then you read something about you, and it's very negative, but you say, oh, of course I do the same thing. It's no problem. Then it's no problem. Then it's no karma created. This is why I think also a bodhisattva creates less and less negative karma because whatever negative happens to him, doesn't mind anymore, sees it as a help. Now, but you can use these ways of thinking as total excuse to do whatever you want to do. Yeah. So, but karma, you can't escape from karma. Karma means you don't get away with anything. That's what it means. It always caught up with you. You can cook up a very good intention, but inside you know it's not true. We do have that basic intelligence. That's the thing. It's part of the nature of the mind, to know. That's how it is explained anyway, how somebody who has no intention. This is why the word intention in the four factors is sometimes misleading because we think we have to know that it's a bad thing to do. It's not, it's that person who kills the mosquito knows that killing is no good, knows it, but then only from a certain size. But the act, still the person knows the act is no good.
Also, it
And
comes
it's
with
about the
anger.
act, really. Huh?
Also, it comes with anger when you gossip.
Yeah,
when
this
you
is what I
kill
mean.
the mosquito.
Usually there is not the intention, kind of intentionally, now I want to gossip, but there is the intention of, there is a negative action present in these negative, and there's a negative emotion present in these negative actions, as you say very rightly. When you are accusing somebody in social media, or they told you something about them that they thought they would keep it secret, and then it's all out. There is spite or anger, or Now, of course, what determines if the action is very heavy, if you know that that you shouldn't do it, then it makes the negative karma heavier than the one who doesn't know what he's doing. For example, I have vows. I take them consciously. Why do we take vows? In order to be protected from doing negative actions, because then you think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and slowly you don't have these impulses anymore. Karma is also, you can I forgot something actually to tell you with the karmic results. So it's like impulses that you have. So then when you don't follow the impulse, all of a sudden it starts dying down. But every time you follow, you see, if you're addicted to something, and every time you say, oh, I do this just one more time, this will be the last time, you will never be able to stop. You need to go the last time I had it, that was the last time. Because otherwise you're just creating more imprints to again, impulses to again reach out or do and reach out. So what I forgot to tell you in the ripening results, so you have the ripened results with which is your rebirth. But then even though like the negative karma of being a hell being, a hungry ghost or an animal, that one is finished and you die as that being, and you come back as a human being, which is a positive karmic imprint, you still have residues of positive and negative karmic imprints. So you could be born with the habit of wanting to kill, liking to kill, not necessarily humans, but there are people who kill humans just like that. Yeah? And I think when you talk about intention, the intention is definitely there to kill. They don't even care who they kill anymore. It's just for the act of killing. So it, like the negative and the positive karma ripens on two levels. It ripens the same thing happening to you, like somebody will be wanting to kill you or steal from you, but also, so that wouldn't be so bad because then it's finished and that's it. But you create the habit of doing it again. And actually, you can see how that works again. If you're never threatened by anybody and nobody steals your things, there is very little chance that you go around killing and stealing. But if people are out to kill you and they don't want you to live, or groups that you identify with, for example, groups that you call me and them, kind of us, then very quickly you develop the habit of doing the same thing. Or if somebody always steals your possessions, and then you're totally poor, all of a sudden you also think, well, I start stealing. And very often these 10 negative actions, they're not only one we're doing, they come in dual packs. For example, sexual misconduct, very often it comes together with lying. Stealing comes very often together with lying. Killing comes together with lying. Trying to put the blame on somebody else, slandering. Yeah? So it's not just one, it's kind of many together. And we try to keep, at the beginning one tries to keep it at a very simple level so that you start as much as possible to abstain from these negative actions. And then you, even as a lay person, you start taking vows. I will not kill, I will not steal, I will not lie, I will not do sexual misconduct, and I will stop taking intoxicants. Because when you eat, why intoxicants? Alcohol and drugs. Why? Because when you are intoxicated, you have no more control over these impulses. Of course they're leisure drugs, but how much suffering do we have in this world because people are addicted to these things and become totally useless? If you see young drug addicts, heroin addicts, you know, in the train station in Switzerland in the evening begging, and they're like 17, 18, 19 years old. I see them, my heart breaks. Because of people earning a lot of money with these substances, like existence is totally wasted. And so much suffering for the parents. I usually stop and try to talk to them or give them something. I give them money. I know what they use it for, but me not giving them money is not preventing them from not using it, from not being addicted. Just an excuse. Give them some human recognition that their life is really difficult. I mean, I remember one evening I came home and it was winter and it was raining. It was cold. I came home to Bern from a weekend where we had a really nice weekend with nice people like you, people who talk about meaningful things, people who want to have a good heart. There's this connection, and there's, like always in all the courses, it's really nice. It's so valuable what we're doing. It's so precious. Just to have contact with other people who want to develop a good heart. I think you don't realize how amazing that is in this world. So I was really filled with really happy, and I see this skinny man standing on top of the stairs and just with his little cup there. Or I think he didn't even beg. He was just standing there. 10 o'clock at night, you could see lost, he has nowhere to go. And I couldn't prevent myself. I went and I asked, I said, can I give you some money? I really had the urge to give him something because I felt how fortunate I am. How can I now just go home and ignore that person? Suppose I cannot take him home. It's not, I don't know if I would have taken him home if it's my apartment. I'm not sure. But it's not my apartment where I live. So it's very easy. It's not your apartment. You take these homeless people home. And they're not easy to keep on top of it. I mean, there's a reason why they're in that state. So don't, you know, open heart, compassion, you take everybody home. Then they don't want to go anymore. Then they start sucking your energy because they don't find many people who look after them. Difficult situation. But at least for a short moment, something, some recognition. I would like to give you something. It came very spontaneous. And it didn't come out of guilt. It came out of just feeling, knowing what it feels. Because I've been an alcoholic, but I was a very snobbish alcoholic. I only drank very expensive things. And I was never homeless. I could have ended that way. I can see myself there if I wouldn't have stopped. So maybe that's why also I have a special affinity for these people. Because I know it, I really know it could be me. So
What
it's not.
about the self-defense?
Yeah.
It's also get karma because you don't attempt to kill. It's only because somebody came and want to kill you. And
Yeah, I know you would like to hear that it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's a karmic act of killing that you can purify. But we need to recognize this is not a good thing because we're just creating more problems. You see, my teacher, when he was asked that question, he would say, well, okay, so somebody dies in that case, so why not you?
Because by stopping this specific person, you avoid creating more problems. So it's like Bin Laden, for instance. So
Did it help the world when Bin Laden got killed?
yes, in a manner.
Yes.
In a manner, he
Really?
didn't execute more terrorist attacks for
Do you,
for
listen
the.
do you look at the news sometimes?
Then she appears.
Do you think we can stop terrorism by killing terrorists? Don't you know that there's a few more standing behind you say, okay, that one got killed. I also want to die this martyr death. What do you think? I don't have an answer to this, okay? But no, I think I know that killing terrorists, just killing them blindly, is making more terrorists. I can see, you see, now what's happening in Europe. We had Muslims, like from Turkey and all this, pretty moderate, no big things going on, no terrorist attacks and all that. And we had very friendly relationships. Now the terrorist acts start, with just a few individuals. Now people start to, everybody who wears a headscarf, or even forbid a whole hijab, niqab, or whatever it's called, is like,
Yeah.
and then you make them like this. And this happened to me. I had a short moment going in front of our neighbor's house, and knowing that he would look out of the window and have aggressive feelings towards me, I felt myself straightening and coming like, I am not doing something wrong here. Why? Who the heck do you think you are? Blah, blah, blah. I could feel the effect it has on you when you are being thrown into a pot with everybody else. So I'm not telling you what you should do with the Palestinians. If I would know, I would be able to fill football stadiums full of people listening to me. But if I look at the law of cause and effect, you see, okay, you killed a person, then you need to know, like if I have to kill lice or fleas because I don't want them to infest somebody else's apartment, I do it. I don't tell anybody else to do it. I do it. I take the responsibility. I do purification practices by knowing killing is no good. By doing these things, maybe in the future I will not come across fleas anymore. If you continue to, if one continues, I didn't want to say you, sorry. If one continues to kill, one comes across situations like this again and again and again and again. We need to make friends with our enemies. Otherwise they don't stop harming us. This goes for neighbors, like in Switzerland, the same way as for See, if you want to stop a conflict, this is what I saw in Switzerland when I had this one neighbor who really hated me and was mumbling under his breath like stupid pig, prostitute, sex, blah blah, like this. Yeah. So I could have gotten very angry because he has no. I could have sued him. You have no right to insult somebody because of their religion. Like many people do that. They start screaming, anti-Semitism. You know, whenever you say something against the Jews, it's like, ooh. So something says against Buddhism, it's okay, it's their view. Why get angry? I'm discriminated because of what I'm wearing and what I'm doing, and I can make big fuss out of it, or I can just adjust to it. So he has a dog, and I love dogs. Now I know that your situation is much more complicated, but if you don't even know how to deal with complicated neighbors, because what I heard, I've been here 2 months. In this country, there's a lot of neighbor wars going on as well, and not Palestinians and Jews, but Jews and Jews, making each other's lives difficult. So if you can't even work with that in a peaceful way, how are you going to work with the Palestinians who are out to kill you? So that's why we train first, before we go into self-defense and whatever. What do you got? Self-defense, honey. How are you going to defend yourself?
Well, we're going to kill him.
How? How?
Because if I have a gun, of course.
But you have one?
If you come to my
Do you
house,
have a gun?
yes. If I yes. But if you come in my house and want to kill me, not to steal take everything, but want to kill me, just like that, or you know.
Why would he be able to kill you? You've been to quite a few Buddhist courses. Why can somebody kill you?
I don't know.
You never heard about karma?
Maybe. I want to change it, of course, but I'm not giving
You will still
my
have.
life.
See,
I don't want to.
yeah. The best thing is.
My life.
The best thing is to run away.
Oh, if I can.
But if you kill, can you imagine what your life would be if you become aware having killed somebody?
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Even you do it as a soldier. See, in Tushita we have many young Israelis who are straight out of the army. I've listened to quite a few of them when that thing that they try to suppress breaks open. We had a very touching experience at one point where we were, I think it was in Bar in Tuval, when we were doing light offerings, and this one man, because we usually dedicate it for somebody, and he says, I dedicate it to the 2 people that I killed, and he burst into tears. So he's still alive. So you see this whole thing about killing, getting killed, if we would forget about karma and other lives, if we would start to recognize what it does to the people, to the young people who have to do these things, it's a very high price that one is paying, and not really looking for alternatives. So if there is a conflict, okay, one needs to find things that are similar. So with this guy that really hated me, I started talking to him about his dog, because this is an interest that I have. I have an interest in dogs. I love dogs. And it took a while for him to open up, but we became friends. And then one doesn't need to talk about the conflict anymore, because he let go of his aggression. He says, oh, she likes dogs, therefore she must be okay. Yeah? Talking with 2 people where there's a conflict about the conflict, that's not going to help. That's not going to help. You need to find things to do things together, as they do, like in the Ahava, and like Inbal was here last time. She has Palestinians coming to work with them, helping them. Do things together that you can both do. And then you start to get to know each other, and you see, well, actually, they're quite okay. And some of them are murderers. You know, I was in Belgium also, and it's like, there were the young people, the Belgian people, they get so aggressive and they hate all the refugees and they're all terrorists and all this. I said, look, okay, the situation is difficult now in Europe because we're not used to have terrorists. Here you are, at least you're used to it. You have all the things in place already, you know, all the security and all that. We still, in Europe, they still have to do it. It will be the same as here. Everywhere where you want to go into a shop, you will get checked. You get used to it. This is the thing. So, so I said to them, I said, but, you know, if you would have been living here 80 years ago, it was much worse because you had the Nazis here. So these people, most of them come in a peaceful way. Maybe some of them are terrorists, but most of them come in a peaceful way. 200 or 300 years ago, Belgium was in Africa, in Congo, where they exploited and raped and killed just the black people. Well, they're black, so who cares about them? So the way that these refugees are coming this way now is much more peaceful than the way the white people were going that way, for example. So if we start to see these things, what happens in history, then maybe we start to try to find another solution. Then, oh, do you want dangers? Kill him. You have to make people your friend. Killing them doesn't help because they have friends on the other side that they won't like. They won't go into this argument, oh yeah, but he had to kill him because otherwise he would have killed that other person, so therefore it's right that he go kill. They don't think like this. They don't think like this. When you start to see both sides, because me as a neutral person, I can look at both sides. Yeah? You see how, as long as we only see what others do to us, and we don't admit what we do to them, nothing will change. And seeing what we do to them is very difficult, because it creates guilt. And one doesn't want to sit with the guilt. And then you start to get defensive and all of these kind of things. It's very difficult. So I didn't want to go into political situations. I wanted to start working with these very simple 10 non-virtuous actions.
Yeah, it's just that it's our reality, all of us. Went to the army, it's called the Defense Army.
Yeah.
So it's part of our dilemmas.
Yeah. It's difficult, but you see, even if there would be peace here, like political peace, there would be other problems. This is the thing. This is samsara. I know it's difficult, and one thinks, oh, if there would be peace, nothing will happen here, everybody would be happy. There was like, we had 2 world wars in Europe. They're finished, but that doesn't mean that the problems of the wars are finished. But still problems going. Still people are poor, still people are sick, still people get killed by cars, but also by aggression when somebody goes crazy. Not just terrorists. We have like domestic domestic violence, where the husband is getting crazy and just starts to shoot the wife, the children, and then himself. Happens quite a bit.
You have it here too.
Huh?
You have it here too.
Yeah. This is the reality. The Buddha says it's depending on your actions that you create the future. If we believe it, what will happen? We start to try to find other solutions than just blindly, then just, my country says it's okay to kill that person, therefore I kill that person. And then I get a medal and I'm a hero. That we start to question that. But I'm not telling you not to go to the army anymore. I don't have a solution. The only solution I have is to purify your negative karma. And this is what we'll do this evening. We'll do a meditation how to purify negative karma. But don't fall into the trap by thinking if there would be peace between you and the Palestinians that you will have no more problems.
Not less.
Less. But, okay. Less. But you will not notice that there are less problems unless you go back to what you had again and again and again and again and again. You see, when you have an itch from a mosquito bite, suffering, it itches, then you break your leg. Then you forget about this mosquito bite because the suffering has gone bigger. Then the leg heals and then the mosquito bite comes again and it's a big problem. This is why Swiss people make a big problem about taking a shower after 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. But less people killed.
Less people killed.
At least. At the beginning.
Huh?
To start.
Yeah, it is, I'm saying, the situation, the way it is stuck, is like so sad. It's so sad. If you look at Syria, where they just kill each other and nobody knows who kills whom anymore, will there be an end to that? I don't know. Can you see the causes for suffering? Wrong views, being fanatical, and aggression and greed and detachment? Can you see it? Yeah. Can we change the world?
No.
No. Can we change our mind? Yes. Okay, let's go have lunch.
We need to create Nelson Mandela here.
We're still in silence.
Yes.
Okay. So that means not talking.